Yeah, all right. We're live. Hi, Shai.
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited for this one. Hello, everyone listening. My name is Jordan Duran. I'm the host of Changing the Game. With only 30% of all sales roles being held by women, Changing the Game aims to amplify the voices of female sales leaders and to highlight the impact they're making in the industry. Today, I'm joined by Kenshyra Shai Jackson. Shai is a territory manager at Johnson & Johnson under the Ethicon NeuWave division. Shai is also a former Division I softball player from the University of South Florida. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jordan. This is an amazing platform, so I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. Shai and I hit it off, I feel like right away when we first got connected. So I'm really excited for her to bring her experience and her journey and energy to everyone listening today.
Definitely. I'm excited too. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'd love if you could kick it off, Shai, and just give the audience a brief overview of your background, whether you want to start from your experience in athletics or college or even before that. Kind of give us a little overview of your journey from then till now.
Yeah. Yes, I played softball at the University of South Florida. And upon graduation, I started a grad assistantship because the goal was to go to grad school. And then I went straight into a little sales role. And I quickly realized, okay, I need to probably like kick it into gear with work. So then that's when I found, Enterprise found me. They actually recruit a lot of athletes right out of college. And I had a former teammate who actually worked there and told me about it. So I started there and I was able to quickly build my resume up. They have a great management training program that a lot of people talk to, and they teach you a lot about growing your own book of business. So it was a great experience, and so that is pretty much how I got into the sales background and went full speed ahead from there. I went into Mars Wrigley, CPG, so consumer packaged goods. I had my own territory out there, had great success, and then I finally found my way over to the medical device industry. So overall, about 10 years of sales and management experience and about 6 years of medical device experience. And then worked my way all the way up through worked at Zimmer Biomet, Medtronic, and now at Johnson & Johnson. And it's been great ever since.
That's amazing. Thank you for taking us through that journey. So you have a lot of experience in sales before even entering the med device space.
Yes.
What motivated you to get into med device in the first place?
Yeah, so great question. So this was actually during college. Just a quick personal story. My father, he was actually sick, so I was in and out of hospitals a lot. And I remember sitting at the hospital one time, and I was just looking around the room because I just felt like I couldn't really help. And I was just trying to figure out how can I help. And I kept looking around the room, and then I started reading things like Stryker, Stork, different names of different medical device companies. And I was started like wondering like who are these people? And I remember my dad telling the nurse that his bed was extremely comfortable. It was a Stryker bed. So that's when I Googled Stryker, and then I just went in a rabbit hole from there and Googled all the medical device companies. And that's when I realized, like, wow, I could make a difference within the industry and without technically going to medical school and everything like that. So that's when I became extremely interested within the field and realized a lot of the characteristics and skill sets that I had could correlate to the medical device industry as well. So that's pretty much that was my motivation.
That's such an amazing story, being personally connected to the mission, like feeling like how can I help?
Yes, exactly.
I think that's beautiful. Um, I want to kind of go, or I guess I'll stay on the med device topic. So it can be a challenging industry to break into. I work with a lot of candidates here at Shift Group who say, "Hey, I want to be in sales. Med device is my ultimate goal." It's very competitive. How did you catch your break and get into that med device industry?
Yes. So great question. So in the beginning, it was very, very difficult. Coming out of college, you don't realize how important networking is. I didn't have much of a network at all. I didn't know who to speak with in regards to sales, let alone medical device sales. And so I did feel lost. Once I actually started, I had to take a different route actually. So I had to build my resume up first in order to even be seen, so to speak. And once I was able to build my resume up with the sales and management background, then I was able to go out, search for other folks who are also in that medical device industry, and sort of pick their brain and understand, their route and what I can do to actually get into the industry as well. And like, if I even have, even if it's trying to figure out if it's a good fit for me.
Yeah.
But having those one-on-ones and actually networking, that was the biggest piece behind it. There's a lot of lot of lack of representation within the medical device field. Obviously, within, for women, I mean, you spoke on it earlier, but even less percentage of African Americans as well. So for me personally, it is about representation, and it is about having those, folks who you can go to, who can guide you, who can support you along this journey, especially when you have those questions and you feel lost. So the biggest piece for me, and realizing very quickly I needed to network and I needed to really put myself out there and get completely uncomfortable. And so that's what I essentially started doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important. Like knowing that you had to maybe go back and build your resume first before you could break into the industry.
Yeah.
I've had some other guests on the show. I've had a couple other guests in med device or pharmaceutical sales kind of say the same thing. Like they needed to get experience in sales or get relevant experience that helped them get their foot in the door. But also that networking piece is so important.
Yeah, I actually, another piece to that. So I joined two organizations outside of work.
Wow.
So one of the organizations that I call it my passion project. So I'm actually the director of events for the National Sales Network. The National Sales Network is a nonprofit organization. So we actually open this platform for individuals who are looking to get into the sales background or those who are already in the sales background. Create this space for everyone to get under one roof, whether it's senior level, mid level, or just starting out. This is where we develop those opportunities, whether it's resume building, understanding how to navigate within the medical device industry. But it's something that I hold near and dear because it's truly, it paves the way for those who are definitely trying to branch out and jump into this field. So networking, obviously, within organizations helps. Also, Healthcare Business Women's Association. So looking for those leaders who look like me, essentially, and just kind of hearing more of a relatable perspective from others, that helps a lot. So I suggest networking, finding different organizations within the field. That helps a lot. You end up finding others who are like-minded, but you guys kind of essentially go on that journey together.
Yeah, I love that advice. I think that's so awesome. How did you figure out that that was one of your passions? The just you said it was your passion
Yeah.
project. So how did you discover that?
So when I realized that I actually had a lot of people they started to come to me and ask me how did I break into the medical device industry field, and I realized that started increasing a lot. And more than anything, I noticed that I love to give back. I once was the person that was lost, did not know where to go next. And I always wanted to be that voice for those who felt the same way. So I realized that's when, like, oh my gosh, I really can help. Whether it's a contact or getting them in front of someone else, or just offering a piece of advice. I'm always looking for ways to try to pretty much pay it forward. So that's when I realized, okay, this is awesome. I love my job, but I also love my passion project too as well. And then when you actually are on the other side and you see, a connection that you were able to make, and then that go, full selling for that person, that's a great feeling. So I realized that's something that I like to be part of. So I feel like, I mean, hey, you have to pay it forward.
Yes. I love that. You hit on so many pieces there that really resonated with me. For one,
Yeah,
just being that person or that athlete coming out of college and not really knowing what's next or what the next step is or how to break into the industry that you feel some sort of passion for. Like I really resonate that with being able to help the next generation or the next person who is trying to break into the industry as well. I think people
Yeah.
in their careers generally want to be helpful, right? Like they want to pay it forward, or at least that's been my experience. I mean, I can't say that's true for everyone, but I think generally most people want to be helpful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like it's along with that. I feel like I noticed that's how I am, within my job, essentially, and pretty much why I wanted to choose medical device industry. You can help. You're making a difference, and so yeah, it goes a long way for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I want to go back to your experience in collegiate athletics. You have a really cool story, so I think you should talk about your experience playing softball. I would think the viewers would really find value in that. So, can you just share a little bit about your athletic career?
Yeah, so I actually started playing ball when I was 4 years old. And wow, it's kind of crazy to think all these years that went by. But softball since I was four, soccer since I was seven. I was good at both sports, and to the point where I got offers in college um, for both sports. I ended up taking the full ride with softball. Before that, there was a lot of adversity I had to face. I did have two ACL tears in my left and my right knee. And at a young age, when all you know is softball and soccer and sports, and that's how you're getting to college, that can be extremely detrimental, especially when you start to see certain scholarships fall off. Um, it was very hard, and at an early age, I had to face adversity, obviously in my personal life, but within the realm of school and sports. And one of the biggest things that I guess the life lesson for me, obviously, was not giving up, but I continue to have my faith, and I'm very deep in my faith as well. But realizing that no matter what, you can get through it. You do. That's part of life. Adversity is part of life. But having a positive spin, creating, that environment, positive environment, it's really important. But pushing and continuing to push and not give up. Those are one of the things that like always sits with me through work, through sports, and then I was able to have such a successful and amazing career at the University of South Florida. We made it to the World Series. Was able to experience that. It's been a blessing and quite the journey, so to speak. So I'm definitely grateful. I'm more so happy and excited to take all of those lessons and learnings and to incorporate it still in my life. And that was 10 plus years ago. I still play, but every now and then. But it's just really cool to be able to understand and take all those life lessons and incorporate it and continue to drive and go hard every day. So it's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was going to be one of my questions. You answered that already. I wanted to know kind of how that influenced your approach then in your professional life, but it sounds like there are a lot of lessons that you've carried over from
Oh
that
yeah,
time.
definitely staying steadfast, disciplined within work. I think for me, the reward is seeing my hard work pay off, but like also, with your patients or the hospitals, like seeing the success for them too. I love a win-win atmosphere. So those are some of the things that I noticed that I love the most about like the industry right now, but also the things that I took from softball itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there any obstacles that you've had to overcome either in your sales career or in the transition that you've encountered along the way? And I guess how have you overcome some of those challenges either during the transition or during your career?
Yeah. So, I mean, right out of softball, like in college, like I was saying, I had no idea where to go next. I don't have a huge family either where I can kind of like go and ask, hey, what did you all do? This
Yeah.
and that. And then coming right out of school, you're kind of a bit more shy. And so I realized I was kind of taken aback and I was like, okay, what do I need to do differently? Fast forward, there were still challenges. I've been Good gosh, I could count how many times. I can't even count how many times I applied to a medical device position and how many no's I've gotten. I wish people really understood that process. You're going to get hundreds of no's. That doesn't mean you're not going to eventually get a yes. I think for me, being motivated behind that no, always asking for feedback, even if you feel like you should have gotten the position. I'm a firm believer what's for you is going to be for you.
Yes.
So taking those no's and turning it into a way of, okay, well, how can it be a yes the next time? That's part of sales. You're going to get told no all the time. And having, that drive to want to say, okay, let me brush that off. Let me learn from it, and come up with a different plan and keep pushing forward. That's part of life. So for me, that's been my way of overcoming those challenges. I'm going to always be told no. I feel like I'm successful to this day because I quote unquote failed or been told no so many times. So it's been quite the journey as far as how do you keep moving forward? You just do it. You just do it. Once you find your passion, once you understand your goal, you just keep going. No matter what, you're going to get told no's, but you're going to get a yes eventually. So,
Yes.
yeah.
That was a mic drop moment. Like
yeah.
that was
It's like, all right, we're done.
that was awesome, Shai. That was so awesome. There's so many things there that I resonated with too. Like everything does happen for a reason. Like what's for you will be for you. I think that's so powerful.
Absolutely. I feel like no matter, like a lot of people look at others like it's their fault for, maybe not getting a position or maybe not getting whatever, but it wasn't for you. And I truly believe like the more you work hard at something, you'll say if like you're on this journey and you think this is what you wanted this entire time, and most of the time you'll realize like, oh, I wanted this over here. I didn't realize that because you're still learning and growing and evolving. And so it's part of the journey to understand and to truly pay attention to those times where like, oh, I did get told no, like why maybe, and then try to dive deeper into that. So a lot of people don't even realize like it's not rejection, it's just a redirection, if anything.
Yes. Oh my gosh. These are so many good quotes. Like it's so good. It's so good. I think that's so true. It's like it's not a no, it's a redirection. It's pointing you in the direction that you're supposed to be going. I think it was challenging certainly for me when I was transitioning out of college and trying to find the career path in general. I know it's challenging to new grads now or anyone making a career transition. And I think it's comforting to know like you didn't start out in med device, right? Like you didn't graduate college and say, this is the route for me. This is what I'm doing. This is my passion. It took a lot of trial and error to get there. It took you experiencing so many other directions for you to find the thing that you were like, this lights me up. This is it.
Yes, definitely. And to that point, actually, I can remember sitting on my porch. This is when I still lived in Tampa. And I remember writing a pros and cons list of like what I wanted to have in a company, what are my values, my mission, what's important to me, and what are some non-negotiables. I mean, sometimes within these companies, a lot of people tend to take a lot of jobs because just the money, but for me personally, it's not just about the money. I want overall happiness, work-life balance, like all the things that comes with it. And it's possible to have it. I like to always preach that it's possible, but you truly have to dive deep within yourself first to understand what that looks like for you and to understand what type of jobs to search for, because you have to add value to those companies as well. It's not just a one-way street. So it's creating the mindset of understanding who you truly are and then how you can present that to these companies. I think the job search will be more of a journey instead of so stressful if people tend to do that more. So that's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like understanding that you also bring value to that company and knowing what your non-negotiables are. I think that's so important. Yeah. How did you develop the confidence to say, hey, no, these are my non-negotiables. This is what's important to me in a company, and really know your value? Like, was it a journey to get there, or did you always have that?
So it was a journey. I think I've always had it, but also being an athlete, and I was actually like I was good. I was so used to being so successful. I was so used to um, having that sweet victory. And then when you get into sales, you get humbled really quickly. So I had to take a step back, one, to understand that okay, you're not the one who knows it all. You're not the one who is going to win this game or whatever. So I had to truly dive deep, learn who I was, and understand my strengths. And then truly understand my weaknesses, or quote unquote, things that I need to improve on. And do not be shy to reach out for help. Um, I love to maximize on my strengths too, because a lot of people, there are those hard skills and soft skills. And I truly feel like me being a people person, that's been one of my biggest success within the industry. Uh, a lot of people look at it as where, no, you have to have, top performance, which you still do in sales, but that's not the only thing. And maximizing on building those relationships, being a people person, understanding others. I truly have maximized on those strengths and to navigate me through my career right now. So that's been extremely successful. But it's also, like I said, been a humbling experience, and not being shy to ask for help. And then sometimes that looks like going to those executive leaders. They've been in your, shoes at some point as well. And if you feel like you're not getting the help you need, go somewhere else. It's out there for sure. You just have to have the drive. You have to want it just as bad. It's not going
Yeah.
to always come to you.
Yeah. How, on that note too, how would you encourage someone who may be looking for a mentor or that extra piece to help them level up? How would you encourage them to go find it or ask for it, maybe if they're not getting it from, or in addition to maybe a direct manager or a direct report?
Yes, I love that. I'm glad you actually touched on that. So I always preach mentorship and sponsorship. And with mentorship, those are the ones who are going to help you get into the door, open these doors for you, get into it, the industry, understanding the industry, and so to speak, like guide you. So like your beginning stages. And then with sponsorship, so now that you're in the industry, you want to, go to other doors. You want other doors to open up for you. So sponsorship are those folks who will continue to guide you and lead you while you're within the industry, and improve those skill sets for you, but also speak up for you when you're not in the room. So for me, joining these different organizations outside of work, also your organizations within work. Johnson & Johnson does a great job with our employee resources group. Also, I'm part of our women's leadership and mentorship program, along with our African American Leadership Council program and resource groups. So obviously being involved and speaking up is the key here. I think you don't even realize the resources are right in your backyard sometimes. Like even if you're out for dinner, just speaking up and kind of understanding, and also doing your research on what you're interested in, but speaking up, and then you'll end up finding the the match for you, because you want to make sure it's a match for you, but you're a match for them as well. It's a partnership at that point. You both have to get something out of it. But when you're looking for a mentorship, you definitely want to make sure that you are doing your part and truly like going to them and having a plan ready to go.
Yes, I love that piece, because I think a lot of people earlier in their career struggle with like, I want a mentor, but what value am I really bringing to the table for them? Because it is a partnership. And I hear candidates at times say like, I don't have a lot to offer at this point. I feel like I'm taking a lot, because they are trying to absorb knowledge. So I think that's a great piece of advice, like having a plan for the mentorship. Like you want to learn, but you're taking the initiative. Like here's what I have to offer as well. Like how can we make this mutually beneficial?
Yeah, exactly. And so, like I said, it can be intimidating to approaching, people when it comes to mentorship. But even with that, I feel like as a mentor myself, I've noticed that one of the things that I love to see is an enthusiasm, is the want to actually be great and learn and understand. So I think taking that advice and understanding that they just want to see you, be great, and so you have to just do the work. That's all it is. You don't have to have the answers. I mean, that's why you need mentorship as well. So it's not about like, oh, I need to have this and this on my resume or know all of this. No, you just have to be interested and be a sponge wanting to learn.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
being a sponge. I'm curious too, how did you find National Sales Network and HBA? How did you get involved?
Yeah, great question. One of my old colleagues at Zimmer Biomet actually introduced me to the National Sales Network. And ever since then, I was hooked. It's such a great initiative. It's been about 4 years now since I've been part of the National Sales Network. And I have seen so many positive like so much feedback, so much wins for so many people. It has been life changing for so many. And I love to be part of that. We actually have our conference here this year in Houston. So I'm so eager to be in the room with all these amazing professionals. Johnson & Johnson is a title sponsor. As they've been the last like 10 years. So it's really exciting. And so I had a colleague who actually got me into or told me about the National Sales Network, and it's been up from there. And then vice versa with HBA. So I introduced a friend to NSN, and she introduced me over to HBA. And so it's been a great platform, and I encourage anyone who's actually listening to look up both of those organizations. They're national, and so you'll be able to learn a lot.
I love that. I think they definitely should do that. I also want to ask you, since those are your passion projects, I think we sometimes get wrapped up in putting a lot of our value in what we do on a day-to-day basis, like our 9 to 5 or our work. What I would love to know, Shai, what fills your cup outside of work? And I know obviously your passion projects, but is there anything else outside of work? Like what do you like to do as a person?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So, um, I love to live life. So I truly like to be embedded in earth and like
Yeah.
just being in the moment. So whether that's traveling, taking my dog for a walk, cooking, I love to cook. I am kind of an amateur cook. All those little things in life, I like to hone in on it and truly be embedded in it because I just feel like for me, that's where the love is flowing from. So, and
Um,
family as well. I don't come from a huge family. It's my mom, my brother, but I still like to be soaked up in family, and my friends are my family as well. So, like whether that's barbecues or whatever type of get-togethers, those are the things that fill my cup outside of work. So I love to provide. So whether I can have a dinner party for my friends and family, those are the things that I'm passionate about.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's just really important to know that we're people outside of work too, and that we have
Yeah.
other things that can fill us up and put our worth and value in those things as well.
Yeah, and it's what keeps me going within my 9 to 5 job and within my passion projects as well. So it comes full circle every single time.
Yes, yes. It fills your cup and it allows you to continue to pour into the work that you do for your 9 to 5. Like it's just like you said, it's a cycle. I think that's awesome.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
I know we are running short on time here. I could probably keep this going for way longer, but I I want to respect your time. So I have two last questions for you. I would just like to know what advice you have, or first of all, I guess, what skills do women have in general that you believe will benefit them in a sales career?
So specifically with women, it's I like I was saying earlier, like maximizing on your strengths. So I feel like with women in general, we do have that innate characteristic of being nurturers. So truly taking care of your business. So, for example, as a territory manager, being able to protect, to provide, to grow my territory, and truly nurture my accounts and build those relationships, I feel like maximizing on that strength has shown myself a great success. But I feel like for women, we naturally have that. And I think we should sometimes, like, it's okay to prioritize that in sales. I know it's
Yeah.
all about the nitty gritty. I know it's all about, get the top sales performance and all that stuff, which is all important. But when you truly hone in and build those relationships, it goes from there, and it essentially starts to operate on its own.
Yeah. Leaning into your strengths. I think that's amazing advice there. And on that note, my final question for you, Shai, I would love to know what advice you would offer to women or anyone who is considering a career in sales.
Yeah, so do your research. Do not just jump into it and saying, okay, I want to do it because it makes money or it looks cool. Medical device industry is huge. So alone, there are so many different divisions, different areas within the industry. Do your research. Once you have honed in on, like, your top two or three divisions that in segments that you really want to actually pursue, then that's when you dive deeper and start networking properly. You start to find those folks who are within that same industry, within that same division, mimic them, see what they're doing, and go and ask those same questions that they did, that they have, to get where they're at today. So truly honing in, understanding exactly where you want to go, and then networking. And it's okay to get uncomfortable, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So it's okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shai. That was an amazing conversation. I really appreciate your time. Can I encourage anyone to follow you on LinkedIn?
Sure, definitely. It's Kenshyra Jackson. I do go by Shy, but yes, Kenshyra Jackson. And if please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I would love to answer in any way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Shai.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.